So today we're going to be talking about the 2007 movie Epic Movie, directed by Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer. So to describe this movie, it's not that hard to do, but it's rather painful to do. It's a big conglomeration of many sketches, and most of them aren't funny, and even the ones that I found funny, it's because I feel I probably have a more flexible sense of humor as opposed to other movie critics out there. I tend to try to find more reasons to laugh as opposed to just sit there and be stone-faced the entire time. But this movie pushed me. It's very hard to really laugh at for the genuine reasons that one would laugh at a movie. The mistake I probably made with this one is this. I don't know how it ended up in my collection, but here it is. This is a movie I actually own, believe it or not. I'm not quite sure when I got it, how I received it. I don't think it really matters at this point. The point is, I didn't have to pay for it in the last 6-8 years, so I'm perfectly content with that. If I have this as an example as to what not to do for a movie, then okay, then I'm sold. So what's this movie actually about? Well, it's called Epic Movie, and the idea is that it's supposed to be about a lot of movies that are epics, you know, being able to have this hero on a quest and being able to have the good versus evil parts of it. That's fine and dandy, and you see that in the Chronicles of Narnia parody that thrives throughout most of this production. But you also get some other things, such as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which, while I wouldn't really go as far as say that's an epic, I at least thought some of the jokes, not many, mind you, but some of the jokes were alright. Then they also had movies such as Nacho Libre. Okay. I haven't really seen that to know any better. There's the Da Vinci Code that gets spoofed. But that's the thing. This is really more of a mishmash of quick sketches, as I said before. Now, that's fine and all for a sketch. You know, I think I actually like Mad TV, and I like some sketches from SNL, though I would probably be more of a Mad TV person. You even have Krista Flanagan in this movie. She was one of the actresses on Mad TV. But where does this movie go right? Well, this movie at least moves around a fair bit. It doesn't stay still for too long, though on occasion, if not more than a few times, some jokes just go on a little too long, and it'd be one thing if they were actually funny, but they're usually just cringe-inducing. And I really thought when people said that this movie was that way, that that was a joke. Turns out they were actually just being correct and looking at this movie in a way that every other movie is looked at, but this movie thinks that it can go above the rest. Now, I don't think I was actually as irritated when I first saw this movie a while back. I mean, when I was in high school, I didn't really care that much about the quality of my entertainment. I won't lie. And even when I've watched it again, for whatever reason, I watched it after high school, but not the time that I watched it for this video, I laughed, you know, more than I did the last time I saw this movie, which was about a couple weeks ago. But the thing about it is, it really doesn't have a lot of continuity to it. It will present a joke, and then it'll just move on as if it has no bearing on the story. Which, like I said, if you have something contained within a sketch that lasts for, I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, three if you're crazy and trying to pull a lot of zingers. But for a movie, and this one, I think it's like 70 or 80 minutes on a long day. It's a bit of a stretch, and it doesn't really hold water. So it's hard to say what I really like about it. I like that Jennifer Coolidge is in this movie. Now, she's in Legally Blonde. She's the one that's working at the nail salon and is helping Reese Witherspoon get her man back and conquer the people that she's supposed to defeat. But, you know, that's Legally Blonde. That's not here. She plays the white bitch, which, okay, I laughed a little bit at that one. Not painstakingly, not, oh, laughs of guffaw, but I did laugh. That was kind of funny. They cut to parodies of Cribs and Pimp My Ride, which show that this movie has not been made recently. Then there's the jokes about peeing in the snow and making Sudoku with your pee. What? And then it just disappears as if it was never there. The continuity in this movie in particular is really jarring for me. And I think one of the biggest things that pissed me off the most, frankly, was that I decided to listen to the commentary. Now, I think this was a move that was smart on my end, but it made me really, really hate the movie. And that's because the directors of this movie, frankly, don't give a shit. They don't care. They already got your money from the theater. They have enough to make the next one. But you'll see after some time, the returns on these movies have really diminished, if you can even call them movies. But they go on this commentary, and they don't talk about squat, about how they put this thing together. And they make jokes about other filmmakers, which, again, if those jokes were funny, they would, land, and I would not be infuriated with them, but they just don't care. And there's a fine line between having this flexibility and adaptability and then apathy. And this makes apathy look like someone that's given a hoot. So that tells you where they stand on this side of things. So the other things that happen are consisting of this beaver who's oh so cleverly named Harry Beaver. Oh, I wonder what they're going for there. Then they have this goat hybrid thing. Then they have this midget that's like the white bitch's I don't know, goon. he's in all of these movies anyway. So I guess he likes being paid. You know what? I gotta give him credit though. If I was paid to be in a movie, I would still probably do it. Especially if I wasn't that well established, and since I'm not really an established actor at all, then yeah, this is probably one of my first movie gigs. I'd be okay with that. I think where this stands in terms of the other movie that tends to be lauded on the same playing field as this one is Disaster Movie, but Disaster Movie has a few points over this one. For one, Kim Kardashian gets destroyed by an asteroid. That just makes that movie instantly redeemable forever. Carmen Electra is actually wrestling Kim Kardashian, which, okay, that makes that movie better. And here Carmen Electra is just Mystique and all of her blue skin, and it's just weird, and it's 2007 when they do a rip on Britney Spears. Okay. I know Britney Spears' year of infamy was 2007, but that just seems like a very odd request to to demand the shape-shifting Mystique to turn into a buttery version of Britney Spears. Okay, that's really just strange. And this went from just like, okay, this is a little wacky, and then it's a little weird, and then this is someone's fetish fuel. uh, Not something that I really wanted to watch. And also, really, an epic movie. How many of these movies are actually epics? They go from the Da Vinci Code to Nacho Libre to the Chronicles of Narnia to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Really, only one of those is really an epic, and even then, that's done so poorly, it's really hard to get behind. Okay, so what did I like about this movie? Well, like I said before, there were a few jokes from the director's commentary that even landed, though that's not really part of the movie. But one thing that I liked was that they had a point where it said this movie worked on 1.5, if not 2 levels. And I have to give them a little bit of credit, not a whole lot, but just a sliver, in the fact that they at least recognize that they are no Stanley Kubrick, that they are no Steven Spielberg. They, their quality isn't really that great. They're still making movies, though. They're making more than I have, I'll tell you that. The other thing I enjoyed was how the white bitch is talking about her White Castle, and they cut to the White Castle restaurant. And what's even better about that is that one of the actors of the 4 orphans that's in this movie, and yeah, there's 4 orphans in this movie. One of the actors is Kumar, so Kumar's going to White Castle. Anyway, even with some of the dated jokes that came about, I still laughed a bit. I laughed at how the white bitch is checking out her MySpace page, not knowing that she's so gonna be dated in that time capsule of the late 2000s, just with her Fallout Boy and talking about Saddam Hussein still being alive and more of the Iraq War, things that are totally gonna last forever. And the Iraq War, still has its remnants, but, Saddam Hussein's been dead for a while now. So, progress? Who knows? So there are 3 other moments that I particularly enjoyed about this movie. One is where there's a painting of the Last Supper, and someone's talking about whatever, and he says, for Christ's sake, and Jesus Christ himself just glares over from the painting and just looks at him, and the guy says, oh, sorry. Then the second one is when there's a big fight sequence after this late night spur of the moment party that the Chronicles of Narnia land is having, and you have Susan, one of the orphans, take a chair and slam it into a knight's head. That was pretty awesome. And then the third time is when Magneto, which they had a giant magnet on his head, just in case you didn't know his name had Magnet in it, Magneto, ooh, spooky. But I did enjoy when he got whacked in the head. I did laugh at that. Everything else in this movie is shit. And I do mean that literally too, because this one has quite a few shit jokes, and they're just weird. You have one part where Kumar is dipping his hands into the chocolate river, and you have Willy Wonka tell him, oh, that's from the sewer line, and Kumar is just like, Now, I will say, Willy Wonka in this parody is played by Crispin Glover. Marty McFly's dad in Back to the Future. The thin man in the Charlie's Angels movies. He is a effectively creepy Willy Wonka in this epic movie. They did do a good casting job on that, and I did like the orphans just fine, though I didn't really like the one that played Peter. They at least seemed to get the names right of the Chronicles of Narnia characters and who they were as the orphans. That seemed fair. Obviously, they weren't really related because they were pulled in by the golden tickets that Willy Wonka had in his Willy bars. Wheelie now. Um, and I guess there was one other joke that I did like that I didn't mention. Um, Lucy's cleaning one of the cabinets, and Susan's looking at her, and she's like, "What's your deal?" And Lucy goes, "Well, Willie said he wanted his not polished." Okay, that was at least clever. It was more than just going to a pile of shit and saying, "Oh, I smell funny." I liked it. I think my sense of humor was on a different scale for this movie than most other movies I would watch on a normal basis, because I already knew this was going to not be a great movie at all, and it was one of the worst. I mean, that's why it's on this list. So I was looking for some redeeming qualities, and pointing out the redeeming qualities is much easier than talking about everything else is wrong. So, I mean, the continuity is wrong, the editing, it's wrong. I usually can't notice big errors, but this movie was full of them. They just don't care. Um, the acting, it wasn't really that great. The directing was shit. The writing was ugh, subpar at best. The sound was fine. I didn't really have any problems hearing everything. It seemed like they got most of their lines in just fine. Maybe I didn't look enough to see if the ADR was matching up with everything. Some of the sets were decent. I think it's kind of amazing just how fast they can generate everything, even if some of the sets are a bit shoddy. So, obviously, this is the only movie I've reviewed so far on The Hunt for the Runt, but I would give this a D minus. I don't think it was a complete failure, but I think it was mostly a failure. And as other movies come onto this list, I'll have a better idea of just how bad or good this movie really is in comparison to the rest of the worst. So we'll just see how it all comes together. And hey, maybe some of these movies will actually be better than the ones on my quest for the best. And so I'd recommend checking out all of the film reviews, all the ones in the quest for the best, all the ones in Waldo's Wacky World of Film, and also the ones on this list, The Hunt for the Runt. And so I'll be coming together and picking out what worst movie I want to do next. I haven't decided yet. If you have any ideas or feedback, let me know. As for some of my other reviews, I'll be reviewing 2001 for the Quest for the Best, and for the Waldo's Wacky World of Film, I'll be looking at Legally Blonde and Just Like Heaven. And I also will have some other movies coming up in the near future as well. Alright, so this was a lot of fun to do, and I hope y'all had fun too. Alright, y'all have a great day now. Bye.